So on my homepage, just have a headshot of myself in the classroom, and then I have a brief part of my educational philosophy, and it says that I believe that every student, regardless of their background, different learning style, and unique abilities, are entitled to a quality education. Relationship building, trust, and enthusiasm are key for teaching students both academic skills and a passion for learning. So right from the homepage, I go to my resume, and so I have my resume here with all my experience and certification and education. And then underneath that, I have references so that potential jobs, hiring folks can take a look at those and get those right away. Then I go back to my home screen. Then I go to my classroom, and in my classroom is my portfolio section. So the first portfolio outcome that I have is my ideal classroom setup. So if you click on this link, then I have the whole presentation. I cut down a little bit from what I turned in for my exceptional learner classroom so that it was friendly to a potential employer or hiring group. And then second one I had was my World Culture Day. It's a celebration, and essentially this shows that I had thought about the different cultures of students in my classroom. So essentially I organized and helped organize a Culture Day celebration of the whole third grade. And this is just an example of one of the students' presentations. So it was an ELA project where they were working on the writing sentences and explanatory text. And so this is just different aspects to their presentation. Each group had a different topic. This obviously would be food. And then back here is a picture of our classroom as we celebrated we had Mexico as our classroom celebration. And we have the ELL students, so it was appropriate, and they got a chance to share their experience and knowledge of Mexico. So it was really pretty neat in that sense with the rest of us. You see the dot there is because one student can't be pictured, so I had to obviously keep that in mind when posting pictures of our class. And then the next program outcome is my classroom management plan that I used for classroom development. So again, I cut this down a little bit. I really talked about my procedures and then classroom setup. I think that's important because a potential employer will want to know that right off the bat, what you want to do to set up your classroom and your procedures. So I felt like that was important enough, certainly, to include on my portfolio website. Next is my lesson plan for a lesson that I developed for theories and techniques. So I have a video that goes straight to YouTube, a link that goes straight to YouTube of a video of me presenting part of this lesson. It was a ELA and social studies kind of cross curricular lesson where we were reading about or studying the Native Americans of Michigan in third grade. It's the Meet Michigan unit for social studies. So I read the book The Legend of Sleeping Bear Dunes, and we talked about both the literary aspects of myths and legends and folk tales, and then connected those with the actual information about the tribes and that told those stories and shared those stories. So I won't go to the video because it'll take a little while, but here's my lesson plan that's associated with the video. Let's just see that. Again, I probably won't spend too much time on it, but I wanted you to see it. Next was for outcome number 5, I used a Earth Day lesson that I developed back about second or third year of teaching, and I'm not really sure which class it was for, but it actually turned out really well. So I link to the Prezi and show my presentation of Earth Day. So it's kind of cool. There's a link right to Prezi, so you can present your slide. And it looks like it's loading, but you come right here and you're able to play it. And so there's that Prezi with some music. And I'll close that up. Come back. Another Native American lesson, but this time it's a sample assessment that I use in our assessment class. It just goes through my assessment and how I would deliver such a thing, and then I have a rubric as well. So I think that's important in showing that I've thought through that process as well. It's kind of neat because it's not your standard assessment in the sense that multiple choice or fill in the blank type of pencil to paper, but rather a presentation that they would be researching and then making a poster for. Then for this outcome, I have a lesson plan again that I did for reading in the content area class, and I think this is important to show that I have worked with lower L grades as well, because I'm definitely interested in working for second, third grade classrooms. My student teaching is in third, but I wanted to potential employers, or if the opportunity for a first or second grade classroom comes up, that I have some information there, and certainly an early literary comprehension measurement is what's there. It was a book that I read them on animals and their habitats, and I go through and talk about comprehension. Another part that I found to be unique to this lesson is that I included a reflection. So I think that's good, just to show potential employers that I'm thinking about my lessons and not just delivering them and moving on. And it's pretty honest reflection of myself and what I could do better, what went well. And then the next outcome is for a math lesson that I did while student teaching. Essentially, the students went through, took a survey on SurveyMonkey, and I took that data, gave it back to them, and then they created bar graphs and line plots with it. They really, really, really enjoyed just the process of taking the survey. They liked the content, which was different animal types, and they picked their favorites and then went through and graphed it. And then you'll see in the icon right here, after they went and did it themselves, I showed them how the computer, or the website I should say, went and generated the bar graphs as well, and then pie charts, and they really found that to be cool. So the survey results are here, but you can kind of see them in the icon, so I don't really need to go into that. Next is an evaluation I used. Just wanted to show how I made improvements and where I was successful in student teaching areas, and different comments that I had, particularly in content knowledge and my ability to work with curriculum. And I think it shows how successful I was in student teaching, and again, where I grew, and how I did with that whole process. The next one that I have is a letter from a resource room teacher that I worked with, and essentially it says, can't see it very well, but it says that we worked together with two of our students really well, in that I sought advice from her and tried to work with her on following IEPs, scaffolding to the students to grow their abilities and challenge, and but at the same time keeping in mind their accommodations. And so what exactly should I be teaching them, or what should I be challenging them on, what should I be helping them with, how to scaffold that information. So it's just a letter. It is a letter that she talks about how we did that work together. Next and final one is my technology program outcome, and I talked about a targeted reading time that we had, which I ended up with in my classroom the highest reading level. So they weren't necessarily working on a particular reading skill. So I had to come up with what could I push them with. So we came up with, my CT and I came to the idea that we would do literary devices as times. We also did book clubs, but we wanted to do literary terms and devices, things that they'd encounter in upper elementary, even middle school, but these are great readers, so we felt like it was appropriate for them. So what I did was I used a lot of different multimedia tools, a lot of Kahoots. I'd start a lesson, or a unit I should say, with Kahoots, which are the quizzes, the online quizzes that students really, really loved. I showed videos. There's a really great series on different literary devices. And then I had them do internet searches to create their own Google slide presentations on a literary device that they're choosing. You'll see in this icon, we did posters on idioms, and that student chose It's Raining Cats and Dogs. And pretty cool picture. So that's it for my program outcomes in my portfolio. Now if we go back to the home page, I'm going the wrong way. Then I have a section on my life. I just want the potential employers to know a little bit about me. So I talk about how I coach wrestling, high school wrestling, and picture of me and my wife. There's me in a chicken costume that I dressed up as for Halloween, and that is it. So there's my website, and I hope I covered everything, and I have contact information here. And I guess I will sign off with that. Thank you.